Sylvie.
Sylvie, can you see who's
Oh,
in?
sorry?
Can you see who's in the call?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yeah, only 8 people so far in the waiting room,
8.
but there'll be more. There'll be a
There will
lot.
be more. By the time I finish my introduction, probably there will be more. So
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't get a beret. Jean Pierre didn't have one. My neighbors didn't have one, and
next
they're
time
not.
we see each other, I will bring you one.
Well, I went to go buy one, and they're not an essential item, so they're closed. I couldn't buy
Oh,
them.
online, Brian. I bought mine online.
That would be you assuming that I would do this in advance of today.
Correct. No, I can bring you one next time we meet.
Perfect.
All right, so let me admit the ones who are in the waiting room because it's 5 o'clock.
Yep. Ready?
And okay, here we go. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. How are you
Oh.
doing?
Oh.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Hello.
Okay, Brian, will you manage the waiting room while I'm speaking?
Of course.
Okay, so we're going to start smoothly with my introduction and more people will join. So today we have two wonderful associates and HB top performers who have very different personalities. Brian would have said that one is a personality that people like, but I would not say that. And between the two of them, they have 14 siblings, brothers and sisters, for the ones who don't know what siblings mean. Well, so let me introduce firstly Catherine. Catherine joined Hems Briscoe in 2012. Catherine is based out of Rome, Italy, and has lived in other countries across Europe. She has lived in the UK, in London, and in Denmark. She is the associate in Italy who is with HB the longest time by now. Hartwig now. Hartwig joined Hans Briscoe in 2005. Subsequently, he is the associate in Germany who is with HB the longest time by now too. Hartwig is based, as many of you have heard of it, in the beautiful city of Düsseldorf. Now, let me share a nice memory I have with each of them. I know them since they joined, obviously, and I'm wondering who within EMEA, I don't know since they joined. But anyway, in 2008, Hartwig and I spent 3 or 4 days in Scottsdale, and that was in June or July, so it was extremely hot. And that was not linked to an ABC nor anything like that. It was a very, very small meeting. And it was very special. I remember we had a dinner. We had the opportunity to have a Mexican dinner at one of the most beautiful golf resorts. That was very, very special. Wonderful guacamole and everything. Almost as good as the one that Brian makes. And we enjoyed the hot evenings at our beautiful hotel in the desert. It was, the bar was something amazing. And at that time, I remember I could drink all night. Now not anymore. So it's a good memory. With Catherine, I have a lot of good memories as she's always available for a drink or lunch in Rome or in other cities. But what I know about her is that she's got an amazing life and she's a very modest, generous, and careful person. Let me give you one example of a special thing that she did, and that is showing how generous and careful she is. Catherine organized a few years ago a private guided tour in the Paramount Studios in LA for my daughter and her friends. A very special touch and something unforgettable for them, of course. Brian, shall I introduce you? You know
Please.
Brian as the entertaining man, but you don't imagine the struggle of his daily life in Perpignan. In a very tiny house, very dark, no space outside, poor weather, with no life around, no kids, no dogs, nothing. A very depressing life. So we can admire his joie de vivre. And well, I wonder where he gets it. So I hand the microphone, I hand it over to Brian now. Thank you for your attention.
Well, thank you very much, Sylvie, for that wonderful introduction. It is a very nice life here on the south of France. And I am very excited today to have the pleasure to speak with Catherine and Hartwig Polman, two wonderful, not only associates, but very good friends of mine. And I am wondering, but everybody is on the call to listen to you, not only speak. So I am wanting to start out with a little bit more of an introduction of you. Hartwig, we will start with you today. Huh? And I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit of where you are from and how is it that you eventually came to Ems and Briscoe?
Could you please translate what you just said into English?
I
Ça va
cannot
dépasser.
right now.
Yes, well, how did I manage to come to Helms Briscoe? It's a long story. Actually, it's my after my studies, I worked in an incentive agency, organizing incentive trips globally for about 8 years. After that, I became director travel and events with Merits, Germany. And after that, I joined another big agency in Cologne, where I stayed for another 5 years, being part of the management. And after that, I had to make a decision about what to do. And the idea was there to become self-employed. And my wife actually, she told me, why don't you become self-employed? And becoming part of Helms Briscoe seemed to be a brilliant idea because I was able to offer a service
Because it
at
was
no
the
cost.
idea of your wife.
In a way, well, we discussed it, but she supported me, and she said, "Why don't you do that? If you're able to offer a service at no cost for clients, that must be something." So I joined, and here I am. And I've been with Helms Briscoe now for almost 16 years.
Wow. Well, and what a wonder. Oh, my accent came back from Chicago. I don't know how that happened. What a wonderful 16 years it has been. And I've been friends with you for about 14 of those. So, well, let's say 13. I started 14. I met you 14 years ago.
Yeah, and you may not forget that I first refused to become your acquaintance or your friend.
Yes, I was very sad about that.
Yeah.
That'll be another story for another time. And Miss Tondelli, my fellow American living in Europe, could you tell us a little? You have a very interesting life, so you're going to have to do this as short as possible, right? So give us just a little background of where you came from and how'd you got to Helms Briscoe.
Well, my husband said, "Are you completely crazy to take one job, no money, no salary? Ma non è possibile." So anyway, that was the reaction of my husband. Anyway, I was, it's a little hard to chat, but I was raised in sort of a village. I'm number 9 kid out of 11, brought up in the windy city of Chicago like Brian. And we both got smart and got the hell out of there with the cold weather, and we live in beautiful climate. So
well, the cold weather and the murders every week.
Exactly right. On top of that, right. Obviously, with 10 brothers and sisters, we never got out. We never got invited anywhere because who would want 11 kids showing up at their door for a barbecue? So our big vacation every year was going to the McDonald's and picking out, you know, a Happy Meal. I mean, that was kind of our big holiday. I did learn something though at raising, you know, being in a house with 13 people and 2 bathrooms. I got ready really fast. So I think I would say I've gotten ready quicker than any of the guys I've ever dated. That's for sure. So that was one good thing. I do have a twin sister. I adore her. I have 2 cats. So I love animals, and 27 nieces and nephews. But how did I get to HB? I know that's the most important thing. And I would say stress, anxiety, pressure, overworked. I wanted, I didn't have a social life. I just wanted a life. So I kept hearing about this woman that I had replaced in this company that was working me like a dog. And I finally looked her up and I called her up and said, can we have a coffee? And we met, and she said how much she loved this Helms Briscoe and all the freedom, and she could go on vacation whenever she wanted. And she said you could make as much money as you wanted. You have this great team behind you. And I thought, she just, you know, I landed in the Wizard of Oz or something. And I said, oh my God, how do I get in touch with somebody? And so she gave me Sylvie's name. I called Sylvie the next day. We had a telephone interview, and Sylvie said, wow, we would love to have you. And I said, me too. So I quit. And that was over 9 years ago. And it was just the person that I talked to was Sabrina Fragiacomo. And it was she and I, it was the 2 of us. And now we're 19 people, I think, in Italy. And, you know, Monica has done a great job in building up this team. So that's how I got here.
Well, that's great. And I remember when you got there, when Sylvie told me that we had, Sylvie or Sabrina are both, that they just hired a girl from Chicago. I was like, woohoo, this is great. That was great. Well, thank you for everyone for joining the call. And thank you, Hartwig and Catherine, for being here to share some of your words with us and your personalities and everything. For those of you who this may be your first call, we started this, Sylvie and I, back in, I think it was March or April last year. And it started with it was called the Inspirational Call. And, you know, things evolved with it as well. And Sylvie and I both realized that, for me, at least in the absence of business, and business is coming back a little bit here and there right now, which is great. But in the absence of business, what I found that was truly inspirational for me was these wonderful people that I have the honor of calling colleagues with, whether they're anywhere in the world. And so this is just the things that we want to highlight them. It's called Let's HB Real because we will be real. That's why you can, we will be real about things. There might be some things that you might hear some ways that maybe Hartwig is stressed, or Catherine or me or something, but we're going to be real in this. And we also just want to have some fun, right? It's a good time to have some fun with each other. Love seeing your faces or your pictures of your faces as well. And there's a chat box there. Feel free to throw in comments whenever you want. You can ask a question here and there. If we have time, we'll get to them. But love seeing the comments, and we'll post those afterwards to those who want them. So that being said, I think you guys can all see that we're dressed a little differently than normal, right? This might be what you say as the American stereotypical thought of what we are from our countries. And so if we could start with Catherine on this. Catherine, could you just tell us a little bit about what you're wearing today and maybe a little bit about Italy?
Of course, certo. Mi piacerebbe. Comunque, Italy. I arrived here for love, of course. And I am so pleased because I love Italy. I love this country. It's amazing with the pizza, the pasta, gelato. But there are so much more than just the food and, of course, the wine. But I will tell you a few things about Italy. The one is, did you know that Italy has a free wine fountain and it runs 24 hours a day? So, Brian, that's the next, I think, meeting we're going to have for you is We don't want you to discover that town, but it's but it's only red wine. So if you're a white wine drinker, it's not for you. The Trevi
So
Fountain.
wait, so it's a free, it's just wine that's flowing 24 hours a day out of a fountain?
Flowing, and they put in a little bit of pasta water in the middle of it, but it's really, you wouldn't notice it if you tasted it, because you just take your glass and you open up the fountain and you can have as much as you want, no cost. So
Sylvie, next Southern European meeting is there.
oh yeah.
It'll
I
help
think-
with the budget.
You can save on site inspections.
There you go.
Save on our expense account, that's for sure. And let's see, the Trevi Fountain, one of my favorite spots in all of Italy. It takes in about 3,000 euros a day with people throwing in their coins. And it's also the most, well, it's probably the most dangerous spot because there are more pickpocketers in the Trevi Fountain than anywhere else in Italy. And it's also famous for Italian fountain hangers. And I think Brian will get to that later. Okay. Also, Italy has 3 of the active volcanoes in Europe. So we are Vesuvio, which is near Napoli, Stromboli, and Etna. Kind of exciting. And that was something Brian told me. I've lived here all these years. I didn't even know that.
I always thought stromboli was a pasta dish. I'll have the stromboli. you
The
know?
Stromboli. It should be. It sounds like a pasta dish. So
Yeah.
anyway, and then the other thing is, I don't know if you want to add some of that, Brian, because you have also some pretty fun facts about Italy, but obviously the other one is the fact that Italy is has more UNESCO World Heritage sites than anywhere in the world. So I could go to a new place every day and not see all of the places that are here in this beautiful country of mine, my adopted country. Anyway.
And what really surprised me was finding out that Italy is actually the world's largest producer of wine. I
Yeah,
thought it
sorry
was-
to say that, Brian. I know the French are not going to be very happy on this call to hear that, but
All right. We'll change that fact.
yeah.
Hartwig, can you tell us, and actually, can you show us a little bit of what you're wearing there? Because I think we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. These are my headphones. Now I'm fully equipped with my. Let me see if I can show you
Uh-oh.
my
Whoa.
leather trousers,
He's getting to be an R-rated.
the shoes, and the socks.
Wow.
Woo!
Yes,
Look
I made
at
some
that.
effort.
Wow, who wore it better? Huh?
Yeah, they became a little tight. They shrink,
right.
it seems. This leather shrinks.
I think you have one more accessory as well, a large one. And please don't make that.
Cheers.
That's better.
May it
That's
help. May it
what I
help.
was referring to. That's good. Cheers.
It says HB Real, right?
HB, yeah. Hofbauhaus. So Hartwig, can you tell us a little about your beautiful city of Dusseldorf or your beautiful country of Germany? Something we may not know?
Well, I also, pretty much like Catherine, I arrived here for love, but I don't want to go too much into detail. It was between my parents and anyhow, maybe you want to have some fun facts about Germany. You said you're #1 wine producer in Germany. We have 1,500 different kinds of beer. Though, unfortunately, I must admit we're not #1 consumer. It's the Irish.
I don't
Yeah.
raise your hand if you're on the call if that surprises anybody. No one raised their hand.
Yeah, but we also know Germany is also known as the country of bread. Especially people from France are always shocked when they come to Germany when they see all of those. I think we've got 300 different kinds of bread and 1,000 different kinds of sausages. So that's quite a bit.
Wow.
But going more internationally, Berlin is 9 times bigger than Paris and has
9?
more 9 times. bigger
Jeez,
than Paris and has more bridges than Venice. Who did know that?
I had no
Yeah.
idea.
I had no clue, yeah. And it's scientifically proven that Germans do not have any sense of humor. This is what I read. That's an international problem we face here. 65% of the highways in Germany have no speed limit. Well, we are known for all of this car stuff.
Yeah.
And it is forbidden by law to run out of fuel on a highway.
Ah,
You get fined if you do that. And maybe to put in some actual something to the situation we are all facing when filling out the application form of for a vaccination appointment, in addition to your personal data, you must indicate the license plate number of your car. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, it's not true, but anyhow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Well, thank you for sharing that. I think everyone knows too that I did try to look up some things online also, and I found out that really surprised me because in every German themed restaurant in the United States, you get German chocolate cake. And whenever someone travels to Germany and comes back in the United States, someone asks them, well, did you have the chocolate cake? And in fact, German chocolate cake is not German. It's actually American, invented by a guy named Mr. German. His last name was German. And that's German chocolate cake, and I had no idea. And I also loved, and this explains a lot to me, is that it is not illegal nor punishable by law in Germany to break out of prison, which explains a lot of how Hartwig came to Helms Briscoe and why he's
Yeah.
still there. And he's, because unless they catch you, but it's not illegal. You're not going to get punished for it. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Explains a lot. Well, thank you for sharing that, guys. I want everyone to get to know you a little bit better and see who does know you already that's on the call. And with that, I'm going to get the audience, if you guys don't mind, to participate a little bit. We're going to take a look at a poll. You're going to have a poll right now. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. These are going to be one truth and one lie. And let me get a different poll. Oops. So each person, you'll have a question, and each person, either Catherine or Hartwig, will say one truth. It's statements with one truth and one lie. And I'd like you guys to guess which one is the truth and which one is just which one is the truth. That's what I want you to guess. All right. Is that clear for everybody? I hope. So which one is the true statement in there? So let's get this started and see what the first question. All right. So, oh, why is this going? Let's see here. So first question, Catherine was brought up on stage at a Prince concert and she danced with him, or she played trumpet with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. I know can you guys see all the other questions as well right now? All right, so just stay on these and I'll read them out loud. Only answer the ones that we're talking about. So I'll give you a few, about 30 seconds to answer that. Which one is the truth? Catherine was brought up on stage at a Prince concert and danced with him, or she played the trumpet at the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. Oh, I guess we're not going to see these.
Brian,
Yes?
we have to fill them all in before we're allowed to submit. So,
All right. Well, then we'll see how that goes, because that shouldn't have happened like that. But that's all right. We'll figure it out. So, let's talk about it then. We'll go like this. Does anyone need more time? All right. Well, then that is going to be, oh, look at that. I see people coming in now. Ah, here they come. But they're being answered all of them. Anyway, we'll keep going. Catherine, what's the truth?
The truth is that I played trumpet with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra.
Wow. How did that happen? That's amazing. Were you very talented trumpetist?
I used to be very talented many years ago, but I was in Chicago, obviously, and the Sir George Solti, who was the orchestra conductor, went around to all the schools in Chicago, and he chose 5 trumpet players to accompany the Pines of Rome. Funny enough, isn't that funny? Ironically, that's the piece that we played, and I ended up in Rome on a street that's full of pine trees. So and I was, so it was recorded. It was on a record, and I was one of 5 trumpet players in all of Chicago. So it was very exciting.
I always knew you were a trumpet supporter.
That was Houlihan. That was my nickname, in high school. No, I'm
All right, let's get to the next one then. So for Hartwig, which one is the truth? After losing an $8 million a year client, he lost his position as a manager for a large event agency, possibly, I don't know which one, or he has been European Rainmaker once with HB. So that European Rainmaker is the highest producer in Europe. Marcia, which one do you think is the truth?
Rainmaker.
Rainmaker? All right. Yeah. Good. Okay. Hartwig, what's the truth?
Number one, after losing an 8 million year client, well, it was, that was actually what initiated my change to become self-employed. They had they were filed in the US because of the prescription, or what is it? Brian, can you help me out?
They were filed in the US. Oh, what, with prescription medicine?
It was a medicine, and they had to take it off the market from one day to the next. So it was
They
not
lost
my
their
fault.
FDA. They lost their FDA approval.
Yeah, and it was a difficult situation, and we shrunk the company a lot, as you can imagine, because that's a major loss. And finally, I had to go myself. And that was the start of a wonderful career with HB.
Wow. So you said that's what made you want to work, be self-employed. So you figured you were really good at losing clients. So why not do it for yourself?
Absolutely right. That's the interpretation. Yes.
Next one, Catherine. All right. She worked as an airport security guard, or she played the body double in a few scenes for Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct, in the movie Basic Instinct. Interesting. You did live in California. I don't know the answers to these guys, just so you know. So let's go. Let's see if Carole, Shapat, which one do you think is the truth?
That's a tricky question. Catherine, work at the airports?
Yeah. All right. Anyone, you can unmute yourself. Anyone think she was who was the 2 people thought she was the body double in Basic Instinct?
Well, based on the Paramount Studios history before, I assume that would be the correct one.
I think it's good using those clues there. If those two of you are right, I will send you a copy of the film.
Okay.
Catherine, what's the truth on this?
God, I wish I was the second body double of Sharon Stone. That would have been a huge compliment, but I wouldn't be working at HB.
Depends on.
Well, it was their loss, Catherine.
But I know that's what I'm saying, Sharon.
Yeah.
So I was a security guard at the airport, believe it or not. I didn't have a gun, but I did work as the Chicago O'Hare Airport as a security guard.
Yeah, I mean, you're
I don't look like it, but
very intimidating stature.
I do, right? Yeah. You.
Anything crazy happen? Anything crazy happen?
Yeah, I got 2 guns. We had to arrest 2 people that I found through. They brought on 2 pistols and their luggage, so we had to. That was the time when you had police officers right at the security check.
PSA wasn't there yet. All right, got it.
So.
All right, Hartwig. Did he apprentice for 3 years and become a carpenter, or did he pay for his university by dancing at private parties? Yes. I'm not going to call on Monse for that. Let's hear from Denise Lopez. What do you think is the truth, Denise?
Sorry. I missed the two answers. Can you
So
repeat?
did he apprentice for 3 years to become a carpenter, a woodworker, you know, or did he
Yeah.
or did he pay for university by dancing in private parties?
I don't see him dancing. First one.
Ah, well, you don't know him very well if you don't see him dancing.
Well, the face he made when you said the dancing one didn't look like he danced a lot.
See, I would probably guess the became a carpenter as well. That's where his Jesus complex comes in. You know, worship me, I'm a carpenter like Jesus was.
Yeah,
Hartwig,
and German
Hartwig,
people like to do that.
What's the truth, Hartwig?
Carpenter is a choose.
Ah, you became a carpenter.
Yes. I did not know what to study, and I missed the day of enrollment by, or the deadline of enrollment by 1 day. And before doing nothing for another half year, I decided to make an apprenticeship, and that lasted 3 years. And I was performing best out of 40 at the end, which was nice. But in the end, I decided to study business management administration, and that was the beginning of my second career.
That's fabulous. Hartwig, I think you should take it as a compliment that 46% of the people thought you danced to pay for your university. And in fact, you used the money from dancing to pay for your first car, right? All right, let's go on to Catherine. So did Catherine write a book about how she met her husband? She actually walked over to the Italian guy that whistled at her in a piazza. He was like, hey, oye, bella, right? Or did she make a wish to find her husband at the Trevi Fountain and threw in a coin, and within minutes, she met the man she ended up marrying? So it looks like, okay, who there thinks that she wrote a book about how she met her husband with going up to a guy that whistled? Philippe, you think that?
Yes, I think it.
All the time.
I don't believe for a second one, so I don't know why. Just I need to make a choice.
It happens all the time, right? I've never thought that works. Construction guys or all Italians just whistle at someone walking down, right? Well, Catherine, which one is the truth?
Wow. Well, you know, the stereotypical Italian is that they whistle, hey, you, get over here, vieni qui. But he was a little more, sly than that. And he was standing next to me while I threw in my 3 coins in the fountain, wishing for somebody good to come in my life. So not so sure. It's been a rough ride with an Italian, but it's been fun. It's been over 20 years that I threw in those coins. So, and I did write a book about it as well.
So for any of you are looking for a spouse, head to Italy and go throw 3 coins into the fountain in Trevi and find someone. All right, next, Hartwig. People are a little bit torn on this one. You've either never failed an exam in your life, or you twice failed the professional CVent sourcing specialist test, meaning that you're not a professional sourcing specialist. Adriana Falcucci.
Sorry, just
You just came back. That's good. So what do you think? Which one is the truth for Hartwig? Has he never failed an exam, or did he twice fail the professional CVent sourcing specialist test?
Oh, I would say the first one.
He's never failed an exam?
Yes.
People really don't know you. No, just kidding. So, Hartwig, would you like to tell us what the truth is?
Well, the truth is it's almost both.
Yeah, I should tell the
I
truth.
never failed an exam except the professional CVent sourcing specialist test, which I failed by 2 points twice.
And when was that? Like 3 years ago?
A year ago, when
year
they had it for free, running this test, and everybody who knows me, maybe I did not work enough based on CVent. I do my own RFPs and send them out as Excel sheets, but I I tried to learn and really invested some time to get some deeper knowledge of this event. It seems it was not enough, unfortunately.
So
But apart from that, number one is right.
I put this in here because when we were doing our preparation for this call, Hartwig did tell me, because we were asking about some impressive things, and Hartwig's like, "Well, I've never failed an exam in my life." I'm like, "Ooh, big shot!" And he's like, "Well, actually," and then so I should have put in there as a third option: has never exaggerated the truth. Good. Well, good job. I love learning some of that stuff about you guys because I know you both so well. But to be able to hear that was fabulous. Well, I want to put a a couple of some other things that I wanted to bring up with you guys. You know, both of you have been President's Club winners. Can you tell me about your first time winning that? What you felt? What happened? Really briefly. President's Club, for those of you who might be new or might not know, that's when you have collected 100,000 US dollars in revenue in a year, basically, in commissions. So, but go ahead, Catherine, why don't you tell us?
Wow. Well, it was like winning the Oscar. It was like being nominated for, best actress in a motion picture and actually winning. But it was so, it's just very emotional. It's a really exciting moment. And you think about all the hard work that goes into it. I mean, it seems easy, making 100,000 in I mean, it's $1 million. You have to bill over $1 million. And so it's every dollar I billed. I mean, I looked at it, I thought, my God, all the hours that went into this, but it was just so, I was on cloud nine, and Brian walked me up on the stage, and he was part of it too. I mean, you guys, there were so many people that were involved in that, and that helped me get there. I thought it was a team effort. It wasn't just me. It was a lot of other people that did a lot to help me get there. Like you guys on the call, really. So.
You did that. That was a phenomenal experience. I was so honored to walk up on stage with you, or walk you up to the stage. Hartwig, what about yourself?
Yeah, it's quite similar. It was quite similar. I got the 2006 award. Must have been in 2007. And the system was different to nowadays. We were placed, all of the winners were placed on stage, like in an auditorium, going up, one behind the next. And then they opened the curtain and we faced the audience, about 1,500 people in the room. And that was quite impressive. And before, backstage, all of this chit-chatting and until you were placed, and it was very exciting. And after I got awarded, I said to myself, I want to have this feeling again and again. It was so great. I mean, we all know you've got normally, or nowadays, you get your 10 to 15 seconds of fame on stage, right? It's not more. It's quite ridiculous, all of that. But still, it makes you proud, and it makes you feel full and rich and full of excitement. I loved it, and I got that emotion several times again after.
Yeah, congratulations. It's fabulous. And I think being a European associate as well, and for those of you that have been to ABC can tell me, can say if I'm telling the truth or not. I don't think there's anyone, we're outnumbered by Americans there like crazy, right? There's if there's 1,000 associates there, there's 50 of us from Europe at the max. And, but I don't think that there's anyone that cheers louder than the Europeans for our European associates when they get brought up there. Do you guys agree that have been there?
Totally.
It's amazing. I mean, it's such a great feeling. I absolutely love doing that. And everyone says, oh, it's so American, so American. I don't care. I don't care. And those are only the people that haven't been up on stage yet. And once you're up on stage, it's what you said, Hartwig. You're like, I want it again. Like, this is awesome. Like,
Yeah, it's really awesome. And all of the congratulations you receive, and it's such an exciting. Plus, you're totally drunk once you get up because you had 3 cocktails before, and
well, I think Monse has been, Monse, haven't you been like the first one called twice or something like that? Or once? She'll tell us later. Oh, actually, I think she took off. Kids. But anyway, so going in the complete opposite direction of President's Club, at least I think, and this is where we're going to get into the real Let's HP Real stuff. I think it's important for us to, you know, you're both very accomplished associates. You've been with Helms Briscoe Hartwig, what, 16 years now?
almost.
And Catherine 9, right? This past year and some months has been very difficult. Nothing that we've ever experienced. So, but you're still here, right? So what are some of the things that you're still maybe scared of that I think all of us can kind of relate? And what is kind of keeping you going, right? In Helms Briscoe. Let's start with you, Hartwig.
Well, I'm scared of that they take me back into prison for sure.
It's not illegal though, so you only get, you have to finish your punishment, and you won't get extra time.
No, it's been a stretch, and it becomes more and more difficult by now. I mean, apart from health problems or financial problems one could have, the question is how do you avoid to get depressed, and how do you cope in general with the situation? Because last week my assistant, she resigned from her job here because she said she must start working again. She cannot. She got money. She got 90% of her former net because she was on furlough, and I got a governmental support. But I added up to 90% of her former salary to make sure that this young girl can survive economically. But still, she got in a mental state that she needed to start working again, and she totally changed the industry. She's going to start in a startup as a salesperson. Very, very different to what she did before because her background is hotel. So I think the main difficulty is to stay mentally healthy, and the best recipe I have for that is um, to exercise physically. If you don't feel well, go out for a steady walk of an hour or two, and enjoy nature if possible. If you're not in a lockdown where you may not leave home, but that's what what does some good to us as human beings when the head doesn't turn in the right direction to go to do some physical exercise. And financially, I still had some savings. This is was a principle of mine to build up from the very first moment on, to build up some savings to survive moments like that or periods like that, and that helped me. Plus, I got also some governmental support. But now it becomes tight. I want to restart again, and I'm getting impatient about the situation how it is. It's probably the same to each and every one of you.
I can completely relate to that, you know, as well. I think when we were speaking in the past too, we said we are starting to see some more requests come in. I've got a few I'm working on right now. I'm still excited to get signed contracts, but not as much as in the past, right? Because I'm like, well, let's see if they happen. Right?
The bad thing about the situation is you get a request of like 20 people one night, and it totally disturbs your day because you get I mean, you're not used to
You
do
work
that
on this?
anymore. Yeah, you have your program, you go whatever you do, but
How do I access cement?
I need some training on that.
I'll try to do some of that. No, we're starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel, right? But I think you have a great expression of that.
Yeah, well, hoping that it's not the locomotive that is running against you.
And Catherine, how about yourself as well? You know, you've gotten President's Club, and all of a sudden things change. Like, what are you doing? Because your positivity is amazing, right?
It is. I mean, and I have to say, you know, I like Hartwig. I mean, in Italy, we're in a different situation. The economic support that we have from the government is not great. It's been a really tough year. I mean, you know, I know it's HB Real, and I want to be as positive as I can, because everybody on this call, we're all in the same boat. We're all trying to, you know, pay our bills, make ends meet, and keep up a positive outlook, because otherwise, I mean, what's the point? You know, it can't be. My mother always was positive mental attitude. And sorry, I don't know who that is. My mother called.
That's amazing. I was just going to say, is that your mother? You're on mute, by the way, Catherine. You said my mom, talking about history, and then she calls. Like that.
I know. And my mother is, I mean, to be honest, look, I had a really rough life. Yeah, can you believe that? I didn't time that. I swear I didn't plan that, but that was my mother. And, you know, she was always the one that instilled positive mental attitude. She always said, you know, we got to look ahead. We got to look forward, because we can't focus on the stuff that we can't do anything about. That's in the past. And she always said, you know, that's why the windshield in your car is so large, because you got to keep looking forward, and your rear view mirror is really small. And I always remember that, and I always try to focus on the future, because we all cannot just keep thinking about the pandemic. And, you know, yes, it's hard financially, psychologically, it's been a tough year for all of us. I mean, like Hartwig, I've tried to get out, and I've done some volunteer things. I bought myself a yoga mat. I bought myself a Pilates ring. I put music in my office. I mean, and so it is hard. And I know that we all in this call sometimes think, God, maybe we should just look for another job. Maybe we should. I mean, we've all had these thoughts, but I do feel that there is good things coming down the road. I mean, and we have to look ahead. I mean, like Roger Helms always like, avanti, avanti. And it's true. We have to go that, you know, we have to look forward. And I have, you know, good news. I'm working on a small search, 15 rooms in Frankfurt. And like, you know, Hartwig is like, Jesus, where's the cement? You know, I don't even remember. I was like, I was painting my ceiling when this search came. I'm like, now I got to stop painting. You know, this guy's bothering me. But I was inside very, very happy, because it made me think that the light at the end of the tunnel wasn't the locomotive coming towards me, that it really was, you know, the light that I'm seeing, that we're getting out of this pandemic. So that's my 2 cents to everybody, is try to stay positive. I mean, I grew up in a big family, and the reason we got through the crisis in our family, and my father left all of us, I mean, 11 kids, and ran off with a young 20-year-old singer. And it was tough, but you know, what kept us together was each other. And the fact that we have so many people in this company, and so many colleagues, and great colleagues, like Brian, like Hartwig. I mean, you guys have always been there. I mean, Hartwig, I did a site visit in Dusseldorf, and he showed up, and he helped with the client resolve a space issue. And, you know, he didn't have to do that. He didn't ask me for money. Brian flew in. We drove 2 hours to this little town in the middle of nowhere, and Terneuzen, and we closed my biggest client, you know. So without you guys, and there are many, I mean, yours, I can name a bunch of them, what I call my unsung heroes. But, you know, you guys are what got me through and got me to the $1 million mark. And I will never forget that. And I will always, I always will say, the main reason I'm with HB is because of everybody around me, and the people like you guys that have done so much for me. So,
Catherine, this is Monica.
Yeah.
Like
And there
Catherine,
is,
wait a minute. Yeah, what you said, you're such a support to everyone and to the team always. And I really want to say it here. I've always told you, we talk a lot. And it's so important. I mean, what you do, and for each one of us, for the team, we're there, we think about things, we have new ideas, and you help me out, and you're like awesome. Thank you so much.
Monica, well, you're fantastic as well.
No.
Really.
All right, guys, get a room.
No.
Get a breakout room.
To say something about the situation we're in. I also signed a contract of 1,200 room nights. I signed another, I'm gonna have one signed with 600 room nights. The requests are coming in.
Yeah.
And because everybody on the client side sees that once vaccination is done, actually they should go back to at least almost how it was before. And this is, I feel how the market starts moving. And it's not about booking and postponing, booking and canceling. I'm positive that the bookings, let's say from October, November this year on, will stay.
Yeah.
So talk to your clients and see if they have some business for you.
That's great. Like you guys, I've gotten 3 searches in the past 10 days, right? So things are coming up, and some good amount of room nights in there as well. But I really appreciate you guys sharing that, because I think it's important that you guys, for those of you on the call, if you're a new associate, if you're a veteran associate, a lot of us, we're all going through some of the same things, and I'm just impressed with how supportive everyone has been, right, with it. It keeps me going every day. Look, we're gonna launch into another little kind of game. It's a poll again that's going to be coming up there. It's going to be similar to what we just did. You guys are going to go through and answer them. I'm very well aware of the time. There's 8 minutes left, right? So if you do need to leave right away at 6, please feel free. We might probably go like right to 6, and then we'll do our just finishing lines, if that's okay for everyone. All right, but if you need to leave, go ahead and go. So we're going to talk about, and I love how a lot of things that Catherine was sharing. I love that you shared some advice from your mom and how she was positive. I mean, anyone that was pregnant for like a total of 12 years and is a positive person, I'll take their advice on anything. So, but we're going to talk, I've had some really good conversations with Catherine and Hartwig over the years, and I've always been impressed by them and their lives. And we're going to actually compare and see whose life is more impressive to you guys, right? So we're going to do that with the polls. So I've just put that out there. Let's start with the first question. So you need to answer these as we go through. You can answer them how you want. Look at the category of where are we currently living? I'm living in Perpignan in France, the south of France, Hartwig in Dusseldorf, Germany, Catherine in Rome.
I'm sorry, Brian, I don't see my name.
Oh, I know your name isn't there. So, yeah, so who where they live impresses you the most? Look at the next one. The most countries that people have traveled. I've been to over 40 countries, Hartwig more than 60, and Catherine around 45, right? This might be an easy one. It's pretty impressive. 40 for an American and over 45 for an American. Pretty good, I think, already. Next, we're going into how many languages we speak fluently. So I speak English, Spanish, and French. I also speak Quebecois, but I didn't put that on there. Hartwig speaks English, German, French, and body language, according to him. Can we see an example of that, Hartwig? You have an example of body language?
No, not at the moment. Thank you.
Okay. Just so you guys all know, Hartwig said right before the call that if I ask him to dance, he is not going to do it. And I promised him I would not ask him to dance. But I also said I had no control over the chat box and on the other associates on the call. And that if they ask, it's his decision. Anyway. Education. So myself, I almost finished university, right? Hartwig finished his applied sciences, which also made him a carpenter. And Catherine finished university with a bachelor's degree. So who is more impressive for you on that? Next, celebrities. We've all had some stories with this. Hartwig had a mini bar party with Carson Helms, Roger Helms' son. Pretty impressive. I did a dance off with Justin Timberlake. Catherine dated Michael Douglas. So actually, we probably should have brought this up before we did the whole Basic Instinct thing, right? Because he was the star in that movie as well.
You're right.
All right, dated Michael Douglas. Culinary. So myself, I'm very accomplished in sous vide cooking. Hartwig makes an excellent pasta dish with onion, tomato, and tuna sauce. And Catherine, well, she wrote and published a cookbook. I don't know. All right. So let's go into the politicals. Brian, so I've been to the French Assemblée Nationale. Had a tour in there. That was cool. Hartwig gave instructions on proper etiquette to Robert Mueller and on how to behave. Robert Mueller is the guy that was appointed to investigate Trump and the Russia conspiracy, right?
And he used to be director of the FBI for longer than Hoover, or second longest Hoover, I think.
Yeah, and then Catherine didn't really have any political experience. She just hung out with Nelson Mandela and Bill Clinton at a private reception because she was married to Nelson Mandela's number 2 man. And so anyway, I don't know. I think it doesn't touch visiting the French National Assembly. All right, let's look at our siblings then. Who has the most impressive siblings? Well, my sister won a national baton twirling competition in the United States. Hartwig's sister moved to Israel and now speaks Hebrew. And Catherine's sister has twice been nominated for an Oscar. So this is not One Truth and One Lie, by the way. Literary accomplishments. I wrote an article that was published in my university newspaper. It was like 9 paragraphs. It was huge. Hartwig was interviewed for IMAX magazine at IMAX, and they decided it was so good that they did not print it or use it. And Catherine has published 2 books, one of which is currently selling on Amazon. So just so you guys know, I do prep work with our guests on this call, and I was asking a lot of questions and to Catherine and Hartwig when we were on a few calls. And Hartwig and I were so embarrassed about the lives that we thought were pretty good until we started talking to Catherine. And she, we'd say something. So let's see here. We've got 1 for Catherine, 2 for Catherine, 1 for me, 3 for Catherine, 4 for Catherine, 5, 6, 7, and 8 for Catherine. And Hartwig didn't get any.
Oh, Hartwig.
I have a miserable life. I know this.
Oh my gosh. You know what? Hartwig, I think you're impressive, even if no one else does.
Me too. I do too.
Catherine, shush. Your time is over now. You've had enough. Now, listen, everyone, I really appreciate you coming on and sitting with us for a little bit. The hour for me has flown by. Hartwig and Catherine, you guys, as I've said, are both very dear friends. I have some amazing experiences of having drinks with people we don't know in bars in Terneuzen, and Catherine jumping on some guy's motorcycle that she didn't even know and taking for a spin. And Hartwig, I'll never forget, you guys, Hartwig dressed up as a T-Bird from the movie Grease with several other associates that are on this call, Sylvie Montse included, and saying words at my wedding that talked about the story of my life with Joanne and meeting up until that point, to the tune of Summer Lovin'. It was Brian and Joanne met at Club Med on Bathurst Night. That's what they said. It was amazing. If you ever want to see the video, just let me know. I'll send you the YouTube link. But so I just want to thank you guys for sharing everything, and I also want to thank Sylvie for putting her time and getting this going as well. And last and not least, thank you everyone for joining. I'd love to finish with Catherine and Hartwig. Both of you, if you want to leave us with a little something, I would love for you to have just some closing statements here. Let's start with Hartwig.
Well, closing statement, that's always a little difficult. I'd say don't lose hope. We are living in difficult and very special times, and once we look or might look back to the 2000s, the beginning of 2001, we will find out that it was a historically exceptional moment, and that's that doesn't make it easier, but take it as it is and make good use of your days. This is what I can say. Try to make best use of your days and to go one by one. And as Catherine said, use the windshield in front of you, not the mirror back, the back mirror.
That's great. I love that expression. That's fabulous. Thank you, Hartwig. Catherine, would you like to add anything?
Oh, no, I think, just try to be positive. I mean, one thing my mother always used to tell me, she said, some storms come to disrupt your life, but some storms come to clear your path. And I think this is a storm. I mean, we've all lived through it was a tsunami, the COVID and this pandemic. And I do feel that there's got to be some goodness that has come out. And I definitely, and I'm one of those people that, I looked at all the good things that I was able to get from this pandemic and all the different avenues that I was able to do and explore and things that I couldn't do for years because I was working so hard. So I look at it positively, as much as it impacted my financial part, really difficult, heavy, but I think it's also coming to clear our path. So I think we all need to really look at the road ahead and go, learn from the last year, learn the lessons. And I've certainly learned a lot of them. But I do think that good is coming. Good, like my mom said, keep walking down the road because good things are coming. And so I would leave you with all of that. Good things are coming.
Thank you so much, Catherine. What a great positive message to send out to everyone, and I really appreciate it. That concludes our call. I'm going to send it back over to Sylvie to finish it out, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you. That was really great. You've been amazing, Catherine and Hartwig. It's been good to see you. Catherine, can you stand up? I want to see your, what is it? Apron? What are you wearing?
Oh, I'm wearing my apron, yes.
Yeah, I want to see your apron. Oh, good.
It's Sharon Stone.
It's Sharon Stone. Exactly. Wow, basic instinct. Who would know?
All right, so I think it will be difficult for the next Let's HB Reel to be more entertaining. Brian, you have a challenge here.
Brian, great job. You look kind of like Freddie Mercury, though, I have to say. You kind of have that little bit of
Scaramouche, will you do the fandango?
Ouais, c'est bien. C'est très, très bien.
I was going for fast. I got my baguette. I got my sacré bleu. Blue cheese. And of course, a little rosé.
Bon appétit.
Cheers.
If you have drinks, cheers, everybody. Santé.
Cheers. Salute a tutti.
Salut.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Sylvie.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao. Ciao.